now there's time to make resolutions. So let's talk about resolutions here. So I have a from last year. I have my own resolutions, my 2023 goals and resolutions. So I'm gonna name mine real quick, but they're somewhat baseball related. So my target weight was 230 pounds. Didn't happen. Life happens, but I put that on there. I put that as accountability. Uh, Complete my daily task list. So every day I would stay organized and do that. It sounds like a stupid thing, but I did that every day. There is literally about 4 or 5 of these notebooks full of notes and stuff.
Wow.
So I think it makes better for a better podcast too. Goal 1,000 subscribers on for each channel. We did that last year. Thanks to you. Thanks to our listeners. We had, let's see, yep, we hit a download goal that I put on here. We hit that last month, or we hit that. Practice Spanish, so I'm speaking it more fluently every day. Didn't do that, so that was the goal. And then the in terms of like web page views for Tiger Mind Report, hit that goal. So yeah, and then the workout goal. I was able to work out almost half the year. Like I had a 35% increase in workouts from the year before.
Nice.
So what I want the Tigers resolution to be, my Tigers resolution is fix runners in scoring position. Virgil said that really, really well. But if I'm going to go with another one, the one I was going to go with is simply this. Beat teams that are playoff bound. Beat the AL East teams. They struggled against teams like that last year mightily. And they did what they were supposed to do against teams that were inferior. But my goal, the Tigers' resolution this year should be when they play against teams like Tampa or anybody in the West, that they're able to hang a little better. Because it's just against the AL East, it got brutal. So that's my resolution. Uper, what's your or Chris?
Oh, yeah, go Yup. No, go ahead, Yup, because I don't really have anything.
No.
Oh. Well, on my personal side, it's for umpiring. I am hopeful to umpire more this year for a bunch of reasons. We have vacations worked out, and I had a little ankle injury for a while last summer. I didn't get to umpire near as much, so I'm hoping to nearly double what I did. I only did about something like 66 games last year between travel ball and high school. I'd like to get back over 100. That's kind of where I've always been, sometimes up to 125. And if possible, I'd like to do more high school and less travel ball, just because travel ball parents and coaches are jerks. So, and high school is much easier in that respect. Although if I'm going to get up to 120 games, I'm going to have to work some travel ball. There's just no way around that because you can work 5 in a day. So, but for the Tigers, to me, last season, I said it many times, was about finding out if Torkelson is a ball player, finding out if Green is a ball player. And I think we got some good signs on both of those last year. For me, the players I'm going to be watching very closely is, assuming he's there, Colt Keith, and the return of Casey Mize, which is why I brought that up. I really still think that star pitcher is in there somewhere. And I just wonder if getting the UCL redone is going to be the ticket. Because again, that last year in college, the year before, he was shut down with a forearm. You always knew that was lurking. And I just wondered what that meant for him as he was trying to battle through it for all these years since then. Now he's fixed, hopefully, depending if the back is good and everything. But watching Mize, for me, that's going to be my resolution, to never miss a start and then hope for the best for him. And then I'd like to see Kreidler healthy. I'm a Kreidler guy. Saw him a lot in person. I think he can play, but, he's just been hurt. And then finally is, for me, I'm going to try to resist watching Vic Reyes highlights every day out of South Korea. I'm just going to try to cut the cord with Vic, let it go. It's time for us to say goodbye. He's over in Korea. Hopefully he comes back, but I'm probably not going to watch too much of that.
It's funny.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't usually make New Year's resolutions in any capacity. I don't. I mean, uh, I guess the one thing I want to continue to do. I got a son here who's about to turn 10, um, and I just want to spend as much time as possible with him. I figure I got about 2 years left before he wants nothing to do with me, and so I'm going to try to enjoy this time with him. That's basically the only thing in my personal life. For the Tigers, I kind of already touched on. That's why I said I didn't have anything. I mentioned it'd be nice to have a league average offense. I actually wrote it down. The They finished with a team WRC plus at 89 last year. From 2010 to 2016, the worst they had was 102. Then that was 2010. Since then, it's been 83, 77, 92, 93, 80, 89 over the last 6, 7 years. So just something close to average. 2017 was 98. That's not great, but I would prefer that to what we've been seeing. And the other one I mentioned was just trying to get some more starting pitching, more innings out of your starters. Last year, that was 786.2 innings, which was 24th in the big leagues. Now they had a pretty good bullpen, right? So it's not a huge problem there, but it's tough to rely on that. The average in the big leagues was 840 innings. So if they can get to 840, that would be nice. Seattle, Houston, and Philly were all at about 900, which is kind of wild. So yeah, just want to see that. And then I don't know, I don't have I wouldn't call this a resolution so much, but one of the things I'm looking forward to in 2024 is the rollout of bat speed data at Baseball Savant and Statcast. They've been dropping little crumbs. Mike Petriello and Tom Tango. Tom Tango had a couple articles about he had Luis Ariz and Ronald Acuna Jr. How Luis Ariz's top 10% in bat speed coincides with Ronald Acuna Jr.'s bottom 10%, and how it's just going to be a whole new batch of data that's really interesting. But the one thing that I'm most curious to see is Javi Baez. I want to see. I think his bat is slower than it used to be. I go back and watch highlights from him from 2018, 2019, and I see this kind of just explosive, violent swing. And we see some of the violent swings still, but he didn't hit fastballs last year, and I think the bat is actually slower. And I'd be curious to see if that's quantified at all, or if it's just in my head. So that's something I'm looking forward to being able to check out here at some point in 2024.
I like that. I like that a lot. The Baez, because you're right. You can slow it down or anything, and we may not know, but he has definitely got the big hole in swing, and to see that kind of data out there. Somebody mentioned the play-by-play, Jason Benintendi doing the games. That's something I'm looking forward to. Absolutely. Also, Cole Keith. And because it was something that I'm looking forward to contributions from the minor league system on a regular basis. Something that becomes normal versus just we're all shocked. With the production of Kerry Carpenter and those things, that is becoming, we're not so shocked. So like next year, for example, we'll talk about Cole Keith's great rookie year where he might have won rookie of the year. I don't know. But to have that expectation already in place, or that Montero came up in a clutch situation and was good down the stretch, taking place of an injured pitcher, or whatever the case is. Starter Gibson Long becomes more of a thing. That's what I'm looking forward to, because we saw some of that. We saw glimpses of that last year. And I don't normally, when it comes to like foreshadowing or reading people, it's hard to read people from a distance. If you're in person, it's a completely different element. But being in the dugout last year, but seeing his behavior this year in the offseason, I think AJ Hinch really is really comfortable with his, he's content, and he really likes to hear it. And I'm not saying it just for lip service purposes, but I mean, stuff I can't say on here, obviously, but just when he jokes around with us and everything, he was a lot more laxed last year than he was the year before. And so I think that is reflected based off some of the guys he's also brought in the coaching wise too. You'll see Joey Cora here as well. There is there's a bunch of assists. There's a couple of assistants, new staff. We were foreshadowing this for a little while. The Tigers hired another pitching coach, Dylan Axelrod, who was with the Angels because
Great
apparently
name for Detroit.
Yeah. And Troy, I mean, you could thank former Tiger pitcher Troy Percival for that. But I mean, allegedly, I mean, Troy Percival came in and was like, "Hey, I don't like iPads. I don't like all this metric crap." And the Angels were like, "Oh, sure, okay, cool." And
it's wild that they listened to him. The two guys that got fired, Axelrod ended up here in Detroit. The other guy ended up with the Rays. So yeah, that's a tough break. I wanted to. I'm glad you brought up Colt Keith because I actually did a little bit of research before today, trying to get back into that. When we had more structure, when we had during the season, we have our segments and stuff, and so like do a little research. And one of the things we talked about a bunch is Colt Keith tends to start slow at a new level, which is not uncommon for any player. But I went back and looked. So I went and back to 2021 when he just first started in Low A Lakeland. His first 14 games, he hit 191 with no homers, 7 walks, and 16 strikeouts. And then over his next 33 games, he hit 404 with a home run, just one. Still, he wasn't hit for a ton of power there, but 26 walks and 23 strikeouts. So they bumped him up to High A West Michigan for 18 games where he hit 162 with 1 home run, 8 walks, and 27 strikeouts. So he struggled a little bit when he moved up. That's natural. When he went back to West Michigan to start 2022, he was pretty good right away. He hit 290 with 6 home runs over the first 2 months. And then he started June, the first 6 games of June, he was hitting 381 with 3 homers in 6 games before he got hurt. So he just started to take off, it seems. And we saw it again last year, a couple times. In 2023, his first 9-10 games there in Erie, he was just batting like 225, only 1 home run, 4 walks, 8 strikeouts. I remember he self-diagnosed that he was too crouched over, I think, or too hunched, or too upright. I don't remember which one it was. But the first month overall, he hit 286, which was great, right? 3 home runs, 8 walks, 22 strikeouts in 20 games. From then on, he hit 346 with 10 homers, 17 walks, and 41 strikeouts over the next 40 games. So they bumped him up to Toledo. And, he had a big splash there in beginning in Toledo, home run in his first game, maybe his first at bat, I think it was. And then hit that 470-foot home run a couple days later. But, first 23 games, he's hitting 267 with 3 homers, 12 walks, 23 strikeouts. It's solid, but not particularly special. But then over the final 44 games, 297 with 10 homers, 23 walks, and 35 strikeouts. So, those are all kind of arbitrary, but it's a pattern, right? He comes up, he struggles a little bit because it's a higher level, and he's always been young for the level. And then he makes adjustments and he improves. And that's one of the things we like the most about him, right? Is he's always shown that ability to make those adjustments. He finds his footing. And obviously, the next jump is the biggest one. So I would just, caution people to give him a month.
So is he on the opening day roster and they go for the rookie of the year in the draft pick, or?
I think he is. I think he's absolutely on the opening day roster. That was one of the 2 questions we couldn't ask Ryan Garko was who's going to make the roster and who's injured, which is totally fine. But just given the moves that we've seen them make over the offseason, they're holding the spot open for Colt Keith. I don't, unless he absolutely falls on his face in spring training, I think he's coming out of spring training as their second baseman.
Yeah, I second that.
But again, I'm just fans should give him a month to 6 weeks to find his footing. And he may be solid for a while. He may struggle, but he's eventually going to figure it out because he's that good of a hitter.